So just when you think Karen Bass couldn't make herself look any worse, she does this. Y'all like the video right here? And check this out.
All right. I want to turn now to the violence we saw playing out in Los Angeles. We saw protesters taking to the streets, clashing with police, following a series of ICE arrests across the city. The mayor, Karen Bass, responding to those arrests in a letter to residents last night, saying in part, these tactics so in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. It makes people fearful to attend school, workplaces, houses of worship, community spaces, and so much more. After I learned of the reported immigration enforcement actions today, I went out to see for myself. I was on the ground speaking with families who have been impacted and community leaders. I told them that LA will always stand with them and stand for what's right. What's your reaction to the mayor who says she's not going to stand for this?
It's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe that an elected official would say that. She would block and stop lawful law enforcement officers from doing their job. And if she was on the ground yesterday, then she was there representing criminals. She was representing gang members, all they were arrested yesterday. 118 individuals were arrested. And then she called for the LA police not to assist us. So the worst thing in America is the fact that we had 40 ICE officers and Federal Protective Service officers inside a building trapped. So we're in a major U.S. city, and we have law enforcement officers trapped, surrounded by over 1,000 protesters, and the LAPD would not respond to help those officers in their time of need. Over 2 hours it took for them to come get there. And Mayor Bass blocked those law enforcement officers from coming and helping my officers and agents. It's absolutely disgusting and shouldn't happen in the United States.
And it comes on the heels, Director Lyons, of the San Diego City Councilman, Sean Elo Rivera, putting across a picture of some of your officers carrying out a raid, saying that the public should, quote, fight back. Are we headed on a dangerous trajectory here?
100%. I think we are. And it's this rhetoric of elected officials that are putting ICE officers and agents in danger every day. Secretary Noem has made it clear. She was not going to stand for this. The president's administration is not going to stand for this. If you make threats against ICE officers or other federal law enforcement officers, you will be held accountable. Whether you're an elected official or you're someone on the street, if you have a criminal act and you threaten law enforcement officers, then we will take action against you.
You've also now got calls from everybody from Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu to now the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calling for unmasking, essentially doxing your agents and officers. Here's a little bit of what Jeffries had to say. Listen here.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. And every single one of them,
what are you talking about?
No matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified.
What does that do to your officers and agents?
Well, that makes them afraid for themselves and their family. So ICE agents wouldn't have to wear masks if rhetoric that calls for them to be doxxed isn't out there. So in the beginning of our enforcement operations, you didn't see officers and agents masked. However, these radical groups, these people for the calling of the doxing of ICE agents, calling them Nazis, calling them terrorists, sparked so much protest and threats against ICE agents, including their officers and families. So now you've dragged officers' families and agents' families and their kids into a situation that's totally unsafe. ICE agents wouldn't have to wear those masks or hide their identity if people weren't putting them out in the public. And I can speak from experience. It happened to me in the last administration, and my family had to deal with protesters showing up at 3 o'clock in the morning, mass protesters from Antifa that came from another state to travel all the way to my house and terrorize my family. So I know exactly what the men and women of ICE go through every day, and it's dangerous.
What is the impact on a wife, on a spouse, on children?
I mean, your job should never go home with you, especially a job that's honorable and respected as being a law enforcement officer. It puts them in fear. A wife or a son or a daughter should not go to bed worried about if dad's job or mom's job is going to bring this mass to their house to protest them, someplace that's supposed to be their sanctuary. Yet we have elected officials calling for that to happen to ICE agents and officers' families. It's disgusting.